Oh god, why was I so late making all those other episodes? I've said this is a Pride special and it's bloody July and I haven't even done anything yet.
Wait, I don't need to actually say that I was late making this video. It's not like any future viewer is going to check the upload date when they watch this, are they? Yeah, I think you can get away with this.
Greetings everyone on the other side of the screen, overly positive fanboy at your service, and welcome back to the show. Remember Q-Force? No? Well, too bad. That's the subject of this review. So, let's buckle up and get right in on it, shall we?
Q-Force follows a gay super spy as he leads a team of undervalued LGBTQ plus agents on globetrotting missions while uncovering a sinister conspiracy at the heart of his own organization. Before we begin talking about this show properly, I want to introduce the idea of rainbow capitalism. This refers to the notion of when corporations and big companies go all out on marketing to the queer community, usually during June, only to stop focusing on that demographic once Pride Month passes us by. This practice is usually criticized by those who bring it up, especially if the company in question is proven to care more about profit than actually providing meaningful representation 24/7. When Netflix dropped a teaser for an animated series called Q-Force, people were mad. Like, seriously mad. Critiques were made about cringy, stereotype-laden jokes. Things were bad enough that the creators of the show had to claim that the teaser was misrepresenting the true vision of the series. So, after all this time, I finally decided to watch Q-Force, and... they might have been right.
What?
Yeah, I'm as surprised as you are. There's a lot of heart to this. The characters may fall into certain archetypes, but they're defined well enough, and I do remember plenty about each of them. Our lead, Agent Steve Mary Merriweather, probably has the most interesting arc on paper, as he grapples with his need to impress the institutions that look down on him because of his sexuality. Mary's rival, Buck, the token straight guy assigned by the agency to monitor the team, is a hateable douche when we first meet him, but he has a surprising amount of development as the show goes on, reaching the point where he honestly becomes one of the most entertaining characters to watch. The fact that he's voiced by David Harbour probably has something to do with that. Twink, drag queen and master of disguise, is probably the main source of the initial backlash, as he's the most flamboyant and outlandish of the ensemble. And yet, he also has his day in the spotlight, showing a smattering of depth beyond the stereotype he appears to be. Deb, the team's mechanic and the glue that holds the group together, probably doesn't stand out as much as her more eccentric colleagues, but her more domestic life does provide a nice contrast to the hypersexual antics of some of the other characters. Lastly, there's Stat, the team's energy drink chugging hacker whose tired goth aesthetic, conspiracy theorist bent, and adorable love of weird foreign soap operas makes her probably my favourite character of the whole bunch.
Fine. I basically continued watching the show just for Stat. Happy?
So, we've just done a rundown of the main cast. A varied bunch to be sure. Do you want to know the real shocker? This show that was panned before release just for being full of tired stereotypes does not define every character solely by their sexuality.
What?
I know, right? While it's true that the team basically represents one letter of the LGBTQ plus acronym among them, there's still personality beyond that. Furthermore, they also represent a multifaceted approach to queerness itself. Mary and Twink are both gay, but Twink is the only one of the two who is flamingly camp, with Mary being more of a straight passing type. You know, gay James Bond. He displays few stereotypical traits beyond the occasional voice cadence. As mentioned earlier, Deb is living domestic married bliss, serving as a contrast to the more casual elements of the gay lifestyle. Stat doesn't even have a defined sexuality at all. She's shown to be sapphic, but the only character she displays any attraction to is an AI. While it's possible that she is transgender, the only evidence we have of this is that her actor is also trans. Stat is basically the exact opposite of what the detractors feared Q-Force was going to be. Also, remember that rainbow capitalism thing I mentioned earlier? Yeah, so does Q-Force. The topic of larger institutions pretending to care about queer folk while actually exploiting them is a topic that comes up more than once and is rightly called out as a bad thing each time. Plus, the overarching storyline deals heavily on the changing attitude towards gay people from the US government. Q-Force themselves are only a team because the government was like, we'll tolerate you gays, but just stay over there out of the way so we can ignore your existence entirely. In the first episode, it takes them 10 years just to get a mission, and they only get it by going rogue. As the show goes on, a more sinister conspiracy committed by the AIA comes to light, but I won't say more. I don't want to give too much away. The animation from Titmouse is pretty decent here. The combat flows at a nice pace, and though the art style took a moment to get used to, it's pretty appropriate for an action toon to have. I don't have any complaints here. In terms of complaints I do have, I'll start by pointing out that the pacing is a little off at times. Some subplots seem to develop at a rapid rate when compared to others. Sometimes, like with Deb's keeping secrets from the wife dilemma, this is a good thing, because it allows us to speed past the cliches. However, other subplots, like Stat's romance, comes across as moving a little fast, cramming what could have been a whole season's worth of story into like 4 episodes. Then again, this show is cancelled, so I guess that's not so bad after all. Something else I'll note is that there is a considerable level of crude humour and uncensored nudity. If these things make you uncomfortable, then consider this a warning. Lastly, where are the asexuals? How can you claim to represent all colours of the rainbow and not have an ace member of Q-Force? For shame. It's not going to be for everyone, but I found Q-Force to be much better than appearances suggested. Ignore the trailers and give it a go. It just might surprise you.
Well, that wraps up 2022's Pride Month special of Overly Positive Reviews. I have been Overly Positive Fanboy, and I will see you next time as we have an anniversary to celebrate. Bye!